G'day guys, I just tipped water all down the front of me. Whoops, that was fun, and it was cold. Okay, welcome to another, oh wow, what a day. It's starting off great, guys. This is what happens when you don't get enough sleep, because you have a dog that's petrified of storms, and we had a storm at 3:30 this morning. Thank you very much. Anyway, moving on. What am I creating today? I am creating using basically, okay, so see those stripes next to me? They kind of, believe it or not, were sort of a bit of inspiration. I was going to use them, and then I realized it would be insanely too busy to use those, so I didn't do it. So I ended up creating my own strips, and this is just one of those processes where I pulled out my distress inks, not my oxides, just my inks, and I wanted to go pink crazy. So something I've learnt with these distress inks, if I just put them down on, see that mat to the side, that's my very original Teflon mat. I need to buy another one, and I just keep putting it off. I don't know why, but it repels water, unlike the one underneath what I'm working on. They were the ones that I got from Amazon, and they're terrible. They are honestly terrible. The liquid goes straight through them. It's awful. Anyway, so I'm using a bit of press and seal to hold my strips in place, and I'm just creating a mottled pink, multiple shades, little bit of splatter, little bit of water splatter on these strips. Now, then I decided to use these guys. So the first lot were 1/4 inch, these are 1/2 inch. Now, all I'm doing is creating a border. So it's super simple to just watch through, and I tried not to speed it up to the point that it was crazy and that it was going to make you nauseous watching it. But yes, now, pulled out my brick stencil. Now this stencil has got a little bit of tack left on it from last time I used it, and I just went through, and when I use my 1-inch cubes, I used to sit there with my brushes trying to lift ink off with them. Something I found that's a lot easier is just smush them on that mat and pick the ink up from there on your brush. So much easier. So if you're like me and you bought the distress inks in the mini cubes first before you invest in getting them in a larger, for me personally, I'll buy the large ones in the colors that I use all the time. So, and the colors that really appeal to me. Now, yes, it's a brick, and yes, they're on all different angles. Why? Just to create visual interest, not for any reason other than that. And just clean off my stencil. As you can see, I've been really bad at cleaning off stencils and whatnot. It's I can't say, I like to work in a clean, neat environment, clean and organized to a point. But when it comes to cleaning my stencils, I want to stencil and then just keep going. And that's why my stencils kind of look like that guy. The black, when I stencil black or something like that and I don't clean it straight away, there's no getting that off. Okay, so now what I'm using is, this is a standard grip mat that I bought from Amazon. They're the cheap versions of a Cricut mat. And the reason I'm using it is because I'm using the squares on it. I'm not using, one, it's tacky, so it's going to hold my 2 1/2-inch strips perfectly at the width I want them. So, and then I'm lining up where my lines are going on the bottom of one square to the top of the next square. That's how I'm doing it. I don't know how else to explain it any better, because my brain struggled with getting these lined up. Oh, I don't know if it's because it was getting on in the day and it was 30 odd degrees and it was boiling hot, and I was just really struggling, but for some reason, my brain could not comprehend how to create this following line on line. If I stopped moving it, it would have made more sense. Now, with a fresh set of eyes this morning, that is clearly where I was going wrong. But because I'm trying to keep my head out of the camera, that way you guys can see everything, I have to sort of spin it around, otherwise I can't see what I'm doing. Maybe I should have just put it to the side. I don't know. But anyway, so this is what I'm doing. I'm running a bit of ink up each side just to give definition, because once I put these on the crossovers, it's not going to be very easy to do that. So this is what I'm doing. Now, this is where I'm second guessing myself, going, is this going to work? I don't even know if this is going to work. I like the layout. It's very pink. If you're not a pink person, please pretend it's black and white. Pretend it's, oh, black and white. That would be nice. You know, pretend it could be anything you want it to be. This is something that you could, so I'm creating the crisscross pattern and it's a border going all the way around. Something you could also do is maybe cut out your floral sprigs and your leaves, and you could weave those through all the way around, having them sticking out, and you could raise them up or put them down, like whichever way you want. You could make your slats brown, so your brick sections and whatnot, you could do them different shades of brown. You could make them rainbow colored if you wanted to. You could go a more natural route and use your wood with your green foliage, etc. Or you could go down the path of, instead of running it all the way around, just run trestles up each side. You could sort of go with a Jack and the Beanstalk sort of theme. Depending on your photos, depending what it is you're scrapping. I'm simply scrapping a photo of my daughter who lost her front teeth and she needed them for Christmas. It was pretty funny. So I don't always scrap that sort of thing, but this particular photo was really cute, and I printed it out the other day because obviously my children are much older now, so I enjoy looking back on the times that I guess they felt, at the time they didn't feel simpler, but now they definitely, you know, the whole pandemic and everything, that was definitely a much simpler time. You know, you really didn't have to stop and think too hard if you wanted to go out and, you know, spend the day, go on a drive or whatever, or go into the city or anything like that. Nowadays, you put a lot more thought into that sort of process. I know my daughter went to the shops yesterday, and my eldest, and grabbed a few bits and pieces, and she had some study things that she had to do, and she noticed that there was a lot of people wearing masks all of a sudden, randomly. And when I said to her, a lot of people, like, what's a lot? You know, is that 3 people? Is that, she said, no, like almost, she said it was harder to find people without a mask than it was to find ones with a mask. And here in Queensland, we're living with it now. We're, you know, with the big C, you know, we're living with it at this point until we're told otherwise. And yeah, she was actually quite taken back. She does, and I don't think she'll mind me saying this, she does suffer with depression and anxiety pretty bad. She is on the spectrum with autism, and or when she was diagnosed, it was called Asperger's, and she had Asperger's traits, ASD. Nowadays, you say Asperger's, and they go, oh, autism. So I don't know. You tell me what it is. But yeah, so she found it quite confronting having everyone wearing masks again. So here I realised I was a couple of strips short and I needed to cut a few more. Sorry, I need a drink. It is so hot here in Queensland at the moment. Ooh. Thankfully, I have air conditioning, which is amazing. But still, it is still warm. I don't have the air conditioning on today at this stage, but I am definitely drinking my ice water from now, because with the storms around, I get migraines. Like, oh, is there anyone out there that gets migraines like I do? I haven't had one. I haven't had a really bad one in ages, but when the storm seasons are around, it's the, what do they call it? The barometric pressure. That messes with my head. Ugh. It's so frustrating. All I want to do is create in my little craft room, in my little space, and yeah, get the headaches happening. It's pretty frustrating, but that's all right. It's all good. You know, I've just realised we don't have little Buddy in here with us. No little Buddy. No, he's not in here anywhere. We don't have any chihuahua snoring in the background. There you go. So this is a bit of a process. I will be honest with you. This did take a little bit of time. Now what you see me running down there is some foam tape. This is the best stuff. I think it comes from China. You need to order it 2 or 3 months before you need it, because it takes that long to get here. But it's relatively cheap for what it is, and I use it like it's free. So, that being said, Crazy Craft Obsessions actually now supply scrapbook adhesive 3L foam squares in black and white in all different sizes. If you are in the hunt for a good foam, easy to use foam square or foam circle, check them out. Crazy Craft Obsessions. I'll actually put their link in my description, and I'll put it down below so you can, and I'll link them over on Facebook for you so you can have a look. They have got a huge range, and they're just starting off with their scrapbook store, but they've got a lot of stock, and they get a lot of stock in, and they do pre-orders, so you're guaranteed you're not going to miss out of different new collections. It's fantastic, and they're so helpful. So they are not sponsoring this at all. It is just a wonderful place to shop. And let's be honest, you want to support local where you can. So Aussies support Aussies. I know, look, scrapbook.com. If I could get, I really want to try the low tack tape from scrapbook.com. If you guys know where I can get that product here in Australia, I don't think I can, but I've hunted, I've searched big time, but for some reason I can't justify the postage. The postage is a killer. I wish it was on Amazon and then I could get it that way, and yeah, but it's not. I really want to try it. I am thinking about getting the Gina K masking tape. I am thinking about getting myself some of that, because I reckon that would be really good too. It looks really good whenever I see people using it. Okay, so here I am going through I only raised up the outside edges, but I thought I'd better put a tiny piece of foam in the center of all these crosses, or they might just get squashed and it might fall in. So I'm doing that. Now you can see when I turned it over that it's a cute little crisscross going top and bottom, and I put the border around before I work on the centerpiece, because otherwise, I don't know, it would be out of whack or something. I had this fear that it just wouldn't work. So the colors that I used were Distress inks. So I used my Distress inks, not oxides, and I used KITSCH Flamingo, Picked Raspberry, Festive Berries, and Worn Lipstick. So these colors are all just as you saw, I just put them on the mat and I just ran my brush through them, and whichever bits grabbed, whichever bits didn't. That's how I worked it. So that way, I've just seen something that I should have done. I know how I would do this differently now. Oh well, that's okay. Yeah, I've just worked out what I don't like about this page. So I do like the border. I like how it worked out, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. It was easy, but it was a lot of work. But that's all right. Okay. So now, what am I doing now? I'm just clearing off that mat, because that's where I make sure I clean that mat in between adding any of the distress inks to it, because I don't want to cross-contaminate my colours too much. So because the outside edge is so busy, I wanted everything inside that square to be relatively simple. So I didn't want that pink to come out past the doily. I wanted it to just be, I could have bought it out, but I didn't really think that's what I wanted to do. So I wanted it to just be simple in the center. So what I'm tearing up here, a lot of people use tissue paper. I use tracing paper. Why? Because it looks like vellum. Tracing paper can be run through your embossing folders. You can tear the edges and get a really nice crisp edge on it. And all I'm doing here with my extra bits, I'm just sort of popping them in there and just building layers of it up. It actually reminds me of, mica flakes. That's what it reminds me of when I layer them up like this. And there's no ink on the edges or anything like that, which kind of probably would have made a difference. But when you see it in real life, it's very much, it's all on top of each other and you can see all the layers, but it's not bulky. And this is something that I'm wanting to work on for you guys. I want to work on ways that you can incorporate quite bulky layouts in your album alongside less bulky layouts, so that you can fit a decent amount of scrapbook layouts into your album. I know myself, I use Creative Memories albums at the moment, and whilst they are in my opinion, they are the most amazing albums. I absolutely love them. They are pretty much out of my price point now for being able to create as many layouts as I do in a week, to be able to store them in a cost-effective way. So I will be looking for alternative albums. Please let me know below what albums you use. I do have two more albums to fill, and then I will be on the hunt for, I'm guessing, top loading albums. I know I won't do post bound, but as far as like your D-ring albums, let me know what you use and how much it costs you. That would be really interesting to know. Would really appreciate that if you drop that below. Now, all I'm doing for decoration on this page, because there is enough pink and decoration around the outside edge, I think if, you add too many bits and pieces, sometimes it can just look really, really cluttered. Now, I'm putting All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth around the photo, but because it's not an exact circle, I'm kind of struggling to get it to flow around the corner, if that makes sense. So yeah, but it looks good. And the silver stickers, they are the Creative Memories Platinum ABC 123 Classy Mini Stickers. So, and the only other thing that I add to this page is a little bit of STICKLES Silver Glitter. And the doily that I used on the back, that is just a cheap one from a $2 shop. It's not a fancy one. It's not a die cut. It's nothing like that. It's just a plain old doily from a cheap shop. So this is just about done. I was looking at it at this point. I quite often find myself looking at a page and thinking 2 more steps in front before finishing what I'm actually doing at the moment. So it sort of makes it take a little bit longer. But I know the words here are upside down, but I don't know how else to do that. If you're going to follow it all the way round, that's just... And because it's such it's a saying we all say, so everyone, I think worldwide, everyone knows all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. You know, it's a song, we all know it, so we know what it's really meant to say. So, what else can I tell you? I am having a giveaway for my 800 subscribers. I'm doing a hop on the 6th of November, and it is just bright and bold. If you are a creator and you would like to, if you're a content creator and you would like to jump on board, I would absolutely love you to jump on board. And what can I tell you? Okay, and I can tell you that on the 13th of November, I will be having a prize draw over on my Facebook group for 2 prizes to be given away to just random draw to 2 people. They have to be either in Australia or New Zealand, because that's the only places that the store shops to at this point, ships to. And that will be for a $50 voucher and a $25 voucher, thanks to Crazy Craft Obsessions. And I will bring you more details next week. So please jump down below, jump in my description, and go over to the Facebook group and keep your eyes and ears peeled. If you would like to have some extra spending money, you can go into the draw. So there we go. That is all that I have to offer today on this particular layout. Let me know what you did and didn't like about it. There's one thing that's sticking out to me right now, but that's okay. Thank you so much for watching, and I will chat to you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Thanks so much, guys. Chat to you soon. Bye.